Do you think that Kirby Reed from the Scream franchise could potentially become a Ghostface in the future? That's the theory we're going to be talking about today. I'm Pamela, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, please don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And you can also follow me over on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Let's get into it. We all know and love Kirby Reed from the Scream franchise. So I know a lot of people out there don't actually want to see her ever become a Ghostface, but I do. I love her, but I also loved Billy and Stu, and I love them as Ghostface. I would love to see Kirby go bad. And I have suspected Kirby for a long time now. When Scream 5 was first announced, before it even came out, I was certain that Kirby was going to be one of the killers in Scream 5. I always thought she was a little bit suspicious in Scream 4. In the beginning of the movie, when she's in her car with Jill and Olivia driving to school, she says that Sydney is the reason she loves horror movies.
Your cousin. Last stop on our book tour, first stop on our road to a new life. It's very dramatic. She's the reason why I love horror movies. I'm sure she'd love to hear that.
That right there is suspicious. You know, we have Richie in Scream 5 who says to Sydney, "I'm a big fan." Kirby's a huge fan of the stab movies. She attends the Stabathon in Scream 4. And we all know that a lot of the killers tend to be stab fans. We have Charlie Walker, Richie Kirsch, Jason in Scream 6, and then there's also that little moment in Scream 4 when Kirby, Jill, and Kate Roberts are in the kitchen, and Sydney and Dewey are talking out in the living room, and Kirby kind of spies on them for a second, and then Kirby says something like, "She's so pretty, she must be covered in scars."
So pretty. When you think about what she survived, she must have scars.
I don't know, I just thought that moment was a little suspicious also. Now, I noticed something on my most recent rewatch of Scream 4 that might actually convince you Kirby was possibly working as a Ghostface in Scream 4. I should start off by saying that Wes Craven did intend on continuing these movies back then. He had a plan for Scream 5. Jill was going to go to college and she was going to be stalked by a new Ghostface. Sydney would have lost her memory, forgot that Jill was a Ghostface, so he wanted to continue the franchise back then. So who knows, maybe it would have been revealed that Kirby was actually a Ghostface in Scream 4 that we didn't know about at the time. So this other suspicious scene that I noticed is during the Stabathon. Charlie and Robbie are standing on stage and they get the Stabathon started.
Let's get the Stabathon started!
And we can see that Kirby is seated in the audience. And as Charlie leaves the stage, Kirby kind of gives him a suspicious look and follows him with her eyes. And then we see Gail set up her cameras. One of the cameras she sets up below the movie screen so that the camera is pointed on the audience. Then Gail goes back to her car and you can clearly see that Kirby has already left her seat. The movie just started and Kirby gets up immediately. And it is kind of weird that the audience camera is specifically on Kirby and her seat and this little section around her, rather than the entire audience, almost like it was on purpose. When Gail checks the cameras back in her car, you can see that this is Kirby's seat that is now empty, literally just as the movie started. And then a Ghostface covers up her cameras, and we know that it's Ghostface because they show themselves in costume covering up the cameras. And then we see Kirby approach Charlie and Robbie, and she walks through the two of them. She says, "Well done, I'm very impressed." But where was she coming from? Some time has passed since Kirby left her seat and when she walks through Charlie and Robbie. You know, at least a few minutes passed. and Charlie is wiping his mouth from drinking, so it seems clear that he was with Robbie the entire time watching the movie. How could Charlie have left Robbie, got into costume to cover the camera, get undressed again, go back with Robbie, and then get back into costume again to attack Gail? This just doesn't seem very likely. And now we know that this Ghostface wasn't Jill because she was still at home. We see Kirby on the phone with her, and it shows that Jill was at home. And we can assume that Jill doesn't have a car of her own because Kirby picked her up to go to school. Jill's never seen driving her own car. So Jill was at home. It seems like Charlie was with Robbie the entire time. So was Kirby the Ghostface who covered up the cameras and then also attacks Gail? Even Zach Cherry here on YouTube has said that this seems kind of impossible for Charlie to do, although it is more likely to be him than Jill, but something just doesn't add up. For Charlie to leave Robbie's side, get into costume, cover up the cameras, get undressed again, rejoin Robbie, and then get into costume again to attack Gail, that just seems a little impossible. But it could have been Kirby. Like I said, the camera shows Kirby's seat empty right after the movie starts. Why did she even bother going to the Stabathon if she wasn't even going to watch the movie? And it's a little suspicious that the camera shows Kirby's seat and the small section around her, almost like it was done on purpose by the director, by Wes Craven, to show us something. And in Scream 6, Kirby seems to have something against Gail. So maybe that's why she attacked her in Scream 4. I mean, Kirby and Gail don't even have any scenes together in Scream 4. So how come in Scream 6 they have like this little tension between them? Who knows what Wes Craven intended back then? Like I said, he wanted to continue the franchise and make Scream 5 back then, with Jill surviving, going to college, and a new Ghostface stalking Jill, and knowing Jill's secret. Maybe that was going to be Kirby. Wes Craven even knew that Kirby survived, because he said so on Twitter back in 2012. And now there is a deleted scene in Scream 5, when Amber, Mindy, Wes, and Liv all go to the police station to be questioned by Judy Hicks. And on the police board, there's a missing person sign for Kirby. Where was she? Obviously, this is a deleted scene, so it's not considered canon, but that's really suspicious to me. Because in Scream 6, we learn that Kirby is in the FBI, and she says that she investigates Ghostface killings. So why wasn't she there in Scream 5 to investigate? Obviously, I know the creators of Scream 5 said that they just didn't have room in the movie for Hayden Panettiere by the time she voiced an interest in returning to the franchise. But I don't know, that missing person sign, where was Kirby? Especially if she's working for the FBI, why is she missing? There's also a few suspicious moments in Scream 6. In the scene where her and Detective Bailey are looking at the police board that has all past Ghostfaces on it, she gets a phone call. And we don't see who calls her. And she suspiciously excuses herself to go answer the phone. And we never get to see or hear that conversation.
I will check in later and tell your daughter to stay sharp. Proximity to the Carpenters and proximity to Ghostface.
Who called Kirby? And then she also has that conversation with Tara when they're at the shrine. And Tara asks her something like, "How did you get over what happened to you?" And Kirby says, "I didn't want to be afraid of the monsters anymore. I wanted the monsters to be afraid of me."
I didn't want to spend the rest of my life being afraid of monsters. I wanted the monsters to be afraid of me.
Which reminds me a lot of the quote from The Dark Knight, "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain."
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
And then when they're all going over what their next plan is and their next move, Kirby says, "Sorry, Gail, no press allowed," or "no reporters allowed," something like that.
sorry, Gail. No press allowed. Police business. I'm good at my job, too.
Kirby didn't want Gail there. Why is that suspicious? Because Gail is known for taking down Ghostface. Maybe Kirby didn't want Gail interfering with her plan. There's also that conversation that Kirby has with Mindy when they're all in the shrine. Kirby says, "The TV that killed Stu Macher." And Mindy says, "If you believe he's really dead." And then Kirby gives her a look. Kirby doesn't refute what Mindy said.
If you believe he's dead.
So does Kirby know something? Because if you see my past videos, you know I believe Stu Macher is alive and is going to return in Scream 7. And my theory is that the police covered it up. You know, Stu faked his death and that's how he's been in hiding all these years. And Stu's parents had money. So I believe that they could have paid off the police in Woodsboro to cover up the fact that he survived. So if Kirby's in the FBI, she might know that Stu's actually alive. And maybe she's actually a part of Stu's cult. His cult of Ghostfaces that's going to be revealed in Scream 7. Like I said, when Mindy says, "If you believe Stu's really dead," she gives her a suspicious look. Like maybe she knows something. She could have said like, "Oh, that's crazy. Like, of course he's dead." But no. And last but not least, I believe that Kirby in Scream 6 was modeled after the Bride of Chucky. If you look at this photo here, there's quite a few similarities to Tiffany Valentine in doll form from the Chucky movies. The hair is the same, the leather jacket, they both wear a necklace, and this wouldn't be the first time that the Scream franchise has referenced other horror icons. So I think Kirby resembles the Bride of Chucky, and Chucky is a nickname for Charlie. And of course, she had a little flirty relationship with Charlie Walker in Scream 4, who was a Ghostface killer. So I think there could be something there with this. And then of course there is that moment in the final act of Scream 6 where Detective Bailey makes Sam think that it's Kirby. And of course we find out that he was lying, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was telling the truth. I just think that Scream 7 is going to have multiple shocking reveals. Number one being Stu Macher, of course, but I don't think they're going to stop there. I think there's going to be multiple shocking Ghostface reveals, and maybe Kirby will be one of them. But like I said, I think Stu Macher's cult of Ghostfaces will be revealed in Scream 7. We all know that Stu Macher was supposed to return in Scream 3, leading a cult of Ghostfaces. And the cult would have been the next generation of Woodsboro High students. And some elements of that kind of leaked into Scream 4 with Jill and Charlie. What if Wes Craven was setting this up for the new movies if he had continued back then? I think the new movie creators want to honor the original plan for Scream 3, since Scream 7 will mirror Scream 3 just as Scream 5 and 6 mirrored Screams 1 and 2. So what if Kirby being Ghostface was Craven's original plan and they want to honor that as well? I do think Scream 7 will have multiple shocking reveals because they kind of need to step it up a little. Especially in a trilogy, all bets are off in the third movie, just like Mark Kincaid says in Scream 3. So do you think Kirby knows about Stu's cult? And that's why she gave that look to Mindy and didn't argue with her when Mindy said, "If you believe Stu's really dead." That's it for today. That's my Kirby Reed theory. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Please don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future theories. You can also follow me over on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video.